We'll instead we can leave early like that. We can do something. Anyways, research and public ethics. We have done 3 classes. This is the fourth class. First, we start, and there was some complaint from the online that so always there is some gap in the sound. One person told me. Internet issues. Okay, okay. Right now it is okay, na? Uh, is that the any means it's if we go ahead, it will not come. Iska kuch no issues. Only internet issues. Okay, then there is no issue. So some internet issues there. So there is something, some issues with the online participants. They are not able to hear it completely. I clarified it was because of technical issues. So for online participants, if there is any issue, please let us know if the sound is not coming or something like that. So we go into module B, what we were doing, research and public ethics. We have completed 2 parts, right? In this, now we have forgotten research methodology. The 3 classes are gone, and we are into research and publication ethics. And in this part, I'm taking the first part. The other part will be taken by Kallol sir about ethics in publishing. So what are patents and all those? He will tell in details, and then he will let you know about the ethics. So we are doing research, formulation, and design. We have completed what is a research problem. We have completed what is literature review, and we have also done an extra class on how to write a literature review, right? And today we will work on development of working hypothesis. How we will do that? Okay. So as we move on, every day I tell you just to recap it, so that you do not forget, because you are already burdened with so many classes. So we are doing all the research, the stages of research we were doing, or research process, you can tell. It's almost similar, somewhat different. The research stages means and research process. The first step was formulating the research problem, then extensive literature survey, and today we will do developing the hypothesis, and then we will slowly move ahead as we are doing in every class. So regarding the old one, what we have done in research problem, what we learned is defined what is a research problem. In research process, the first and the foremost step happens to be that of selecting and properly defining a research problem. So what is the necessity of the problem? We term there quite often, we all hear that a problem clearly stated is a problem half solved. So it's not just we'll take it lightly. It is an important part of your research, defining the research problem. Then what is the technique? How we will define the research problem? We noted down 5 techniques how we will define the research problem. What was there? That we will first do or propose the statement in a general way, right? And then after proposal in a general or a broader way. General means a broad context. It can contain some, as we told, an ambiguity or errors or something a more broader sense. And then we will try to understand the nature of the problem. We will sit and try to think and rethink upon it. And then what we'll do, we'll survey the literature, survey the available literature, what we did in the second class. And we'll develop ideas through discussions. With whom we will discuss? With the guide, with lab mates, with experts in your field, with seniors, with your colleagues and friends. You can always discuss it. The discussion will open up different perspective of your research, right? We always individuals, we tend to think in one way. So in a broader means we will able to think in a more logical and a more broader way. And then what will happen after all these things? We will be able to rephrase the research problem or the statement we proposed in the first step, and then into a working proposition. So ultimately we'll frame the problem. Now, in this research definition of research problem, survey of literature was an integral part. How we will do it and why we will do it. So, what is the purpose of reviewing of literature? What was the purpose? You just try to remember some four words. Background, hypothesis, research design, and structure reports, for example. So, in your own language, you can write that the purpose of literature review is first is that we will have background information on the topic or the research problem which we are going to work, right? Means literature survey ke pehle, the one which was previous literature survey in the research stages, it will help in. So this is the literature survey. It will help in formulating the research problem. So this is how it is helping. Means the purpose of literature survey. It will give you a background information. it will help you in the next stage also, in hypothesis also. So as I told you, everything is linked. So in the hypothesis stage also, uh, next stage, developing the hypothesis, literature sir will benefit, huh? Because for proposing the hypothesis also, research hypothesis, you have to understand the problem completely, for which you have to do the literature survey. Then it will help in research design as well. Research design classes we will do later on, huh? So research design is nothing but uh, the methods which you will follow during your research process, research methods, and what you will do during your research stage. Then it will help you in structuring the reports. So you go through a literature survey, you do review of literature. From there, you get cross references and go to individual papers. So we'll understand how the paper is structured, right? How they have done. So we'll understand how to you will structure a report. Huh? In some reports are quite attractive. Their structure is nicely. The presentation quality is very good. So you will be able to, you will be having the knowledge of those type of structures, and you can adopt it in your research. Similarly, for research design, means research methods which will follow. Which technique I will use? So if you do a literature survey, then only you will be able to understand, right? Okay, these guys have done like this. These all techniques they have used, and so I will also use such techniques, like in material science, in material chemistry or condensed matter physics or whatever you say. In material science, the first and foremost, not first and somewhere. So first you prepare a sample, right? So you will have to know the composition of the sample. What are the elements present in it? Suppose. Then how we will know? Then with a literature survey, you will be able to understand, okay, how the sample's composition is evaluated. So what are the techniques? You have to go for some analytical techniques. So chemistry, you know, right? How I will know the composition? Say lithium of mass spectra. But solid state, I'm talking about material science. For liquids, it definitely is possible. Solid also mass spectra is possible. You can evaporate the solid. There are chambers, so you can do it, or dissolve it and do. Definitely mass spectra is possible, like, but you have to prepare the sample, right? So you have couple ICP-MS in spectrometer, like one of the technique. You can atomic absorption, atomic inductively plasma, coupled plasma, atomic emission, like so many wide variety. You can do EDXRF, energy dispersive X-ray fluorescence. You can do EDX, and so many techniques you can adopt. And specific in our department of atomic energy, we have an added advantage. We have an analysis known termed as, have you done in nuclear chemistry classes? Not yet. Yeah? Nuclear physics. So neutron activation analysis. So with the help of, we have neutron sources in our research reactors. You've heard about research reactor here? Name them. Huh? So you can shout and tell. You should. So the research reactors, you have neutron source, and you can do a neutron activation analysis to know the composition. So those kind of, and multiple, many other analyses are possible. PIXI, PIGI, proton-induced X-ray emission. So if you have a proton source, you can do that. Where you will have a proton source, you can have in an accelerator, right? Proton-induced X-ray emission, proton-induced gamma ray emission. So all those things will help you to identify the composition of sample. After knowing, okay, in my sample, I have these lithium, iron, and oxygen. All these compositions you have found out. For non-metals, you have to do other type of analysis, right? Uh, now, after composition, you have to find the structure of the crystalline structure. So you have to do an X-ray diffraction. Okay, so that will tell you about the crystal structure of that material. And then after X-ray diffraction, you have to do X-ray photoelectron spectroscopy to know the surface oxidation state and surface composition of sample, which will state. What you will do, you can do an X-ray absorption. X-ray absorption spectroscopy you can do, and then you, with the help of XENS, you can know the bulk chemical element presence and the oxidation state as well. Local structure, around one element, whatever is there, you can do an EXAFS, extended X-ray, EXAFS, fine structure. So extended X-ray absorption, fine structure. So these are techniques which you can do. The XENS and EXAFS, where you have to do in a synchrotron. Synchrotron, you have idea? No. So here also is specific to our department. So in Department of Atomic Energy, there is a place known as Raja Ramanna Center for Advanced Technology, RRCAT. Huh? So there is a synchrotron where you can send your samples, or you can personally, many of you should visit during your course and get your ZINs and exams, and multiple other techniques are available, huh? Where you get an X-ray source. Huh? So these things you can do it there. So like that, how we will know? If you do not read the literature, you'll be or not be able to know with your samples what others are doing. Huh? Once you do a literature survey, you will be able to know. How I am able to tell? I have done because I have studied the literature, and then I am able to know. Like that, you have to do a literature survey and find out. I spoke only about material science because it's my field where I work in. There will be other in your research, whatever research methods you are going to use, you will be familiar with it only by doing a proper literature survey. So what are the benefits? You become familiar. You become familiar with your subjects. You know how to prepare the samples, how to characterize the samples, how to do the other activities, how to make correlate with the theories. So you need to understand the theories. Then also you have to do a literature survey, books. You have to read completely. Then evaluate and assess. You have to assess whether something is good or something is bad. That assessment also you can do with the help of literature survey. And then of course, one of the major reason is prevent duplication. So if I repeat something, it will be of not much use. We should try to avoid repeating what has already been done in the literature. So for that also you have to do a literature survey. So where you will go, you will do literature review, primary and secondary sources you will to go, and how you will choose, which are, I told, only 3 words you remember. Something which is relevant to your work, and then credibility, it should be good, or it has a credit in the globally, and it is recognized globally, and then appropriate age, means recent literature will try to refer. Old also are gold sometimes, so don't always. So age is important. Some of the old literature and mostly recent. Okay, points, and we also discuss what are the points to be kept in mind while reviewing the literature. We mentioned the assignments. Try to read it. Just try to remember like this during exam. That is why I'm giving all these. So while writing a literature review, how we will do this is how to learn it. Necessity, because it's a part of your integral part of your thesis. You have to write the introduction. In the next, I have shown you how the PhD structure look like. I have brought it today. And next class, I will bring something else from HBNI website. So we have to discuss something, right? So like that. So necessity is that it is integral part of your thesis. And introduction of the thesis, it is expected that you present a concise literature review. Okay, concise and precise. You should not deviate too much from broad to short. You have to come down. It's a platform to express your expertise in the field of your research. A good literature review, if you write, you can impress somebody, and also it's a platform where you, as an author, you will be recognized. Okay, people will. If you do a good critical review, what is the gap area you identify and put in front, then people will read your diction and start studying on that. So they will cite you, and it will be an ongoing process. So as an author, you can put your impact there. Reader understand your thesis or hypothesis better. So in your thesis, if you put a very nice literature review as an introduction, so they will understand it better. Okay, what are the dark areas which you have investigated, right? And proves your credibility as a reliable author. So how you will write a literature review? First, you have to identify the number of citations we discussed. How many citations? Which are the citations? Which books and journals will refer? And then whether what are the main theme and issues we will consider, and how I will subdivide my review, because it's a very broad. What are the subheadings? You write down the subheadings initially. Then it will help you. Okay, these are the areas I will investigate, or I will do a survey in the literature and provide a summary. But literature review is not a summary. That also we literature. It's not a annotated bibliography. Instead, it is a analysis and synthesis of the literature which is already present. And then you narrow your topic so that you limit your scope. It should not be too broad, right? And then how you organize the body of literature review. You can do it in chronological, mid time bound. From initial, you have a literature library you have already prepared, a big folder in which you have subfolders, and within that also folders, and you have around 200 literature. Now, how I will go about? You can do it chronologically. So it will be a chronological degree, methodological, which methods, upon methods we discussed, or it can be thematic. Okay. So these all we have done in RP, right? And then we go ahead with what we told is that where we stopped yesterday is case studies, right? So since I am doing water electrolysis, so and there are some DDFS fellows also sitting at the back, right? So they are also were interested in water electrolysis. I had a discussion with them yesterday, so I just put the case studies on water electrolysis. Okay, so one these are this is the first one. So this is the title: the history of water electrolysis from its beginnings to the present electrochemical power sources. Okay, so today water electrolysis it's powering, okay, and how from beginning it was, as I told you, it began very long back. Okay, so it's what is the sort of review we will call it, which is a chronological one. Okay, so with time they have uh, given a brief means glimpse how the water electrolysis has evolved from the past to the present, from his invention or his discovery to present day, how water electrolysis have evolved. So, what are this review article presents the research developed in the field from its discovery to present day status to future challenges and opportunities. Okay, so it's a topic, as you can understand, it has been investigated a lot from. So it's a long back topic, but it's not that investigation has ended. Still, and subject of active research because there are gap areas still to be worked upon or to be solved. There are research problems, research questions awaiting, like that. So from history, from that time, it's a chronological review. So they have presented it, and what they have in the means what are the themes they have gone into are fundamentals. So what in water electrolysis? So it's simple. H2, everybody knows water H2 giving H2O, H2 and O2. Simple. H2O से H2 और O2 बन रहा है, वाटर से हाइड्रोजन और ऑक्सीजन बन रहा है, यही वाटर इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस है. सिंपल. वट उसका फंडामेंटल्स मतलब व्हाट इज द थर्मोडायनेमिक्स ऑफ वाटर स्प्लिटिंग. सो व्हाट इज द थर्मोडायनेमिक्स? फ्री एनर्जी पॉजिटिव और नेगेटिव, इतना बोल पाएंगे कोई? हाँ, फ्री एनर्जी positive, yes. So fundamentals, what is the thermodynamics? How? Because क्या क्या और क्या रहेगा fundamentals में? The kinetics, kinetic information. So what is the kinetics? Is activation energy is very high or very low? Huh? हाई है, वेरी हाई है. इट्स अ रिलेटिव टर्म. एनीवेज, मेरे को क्वेश्चन ऐसा नहीं करना चाहिए, बट स्टिल. सो एंड so these are this will constitute the fundamentals, and the molecular structure, water, how it is getting into hydrogen and oxygen, what are the kinetics, what are the thermodynamics, response order, how, what are the mechanisms, then systems. So water electrolysis systems mean what? Just electrolyzers, right? So water electrolyzers can be of how many types? Do you know? एक अंदाज में वाटर इलेक्ट्रोलिसिस, वाटर पानी सब पी रहे हैं, मैं देख रहा हूँ पानी निकाला है. So water electrolysis. So do you know what have you heard of any specific type of water electrolyzer? Engineering students, you can tell, huh? PEM electrolyzer is one. What he's telling. See, he has interest. That is why I took it. So PEM electrolyzers में क्या है? You have water and you pass it through the anode, and what happens? Anode में oxygen evolution होता है. OER we call it, at the anode. So it's PEM means proton exchange membrane based, PEM. Okay. So in this PEM, proton exchange membrane, what happens after from water, once you evolve oxygen, H plus, exactly, H plus is formed, and H plus migrates through the naphion, that is the proton exchange membrane. इसलिए proton H plus, proton exchange. So it's a proton exchange membrane. It migrates, goes to the other side, and hydrogen is evolved by combination of protons. So this is a simple electrolyzer. So they are speaking about these type of systems. What are the different types of water electrolyzer system? So how a PEM works? What are the components? The engineers are concerned with what are the components, what are the flow rates for optimizing what are flow fields, because they will be working in CFD. So how you optimize those fluid dynamics, how you design the this type of PEM electrolyzer system, how the flow field look like, what are the components you will take, whether you will take graphite electrodes or stainless steel or Hestalloy, how we will, what are the dimensions of the flow field we will make, like that, through which water will flow. A lot of impact it has on the performance of the systems. Okay, so like that, a critical evaluation is done here. It is reviewed so that somebody who will, if you have a company right now, there are a lot of startups in hydrogen now. People are opening their own company in electrolyzers. So if you start to open a company, so you have to know, okay, what are the, how the design would look like. So these reviews will be helpful to them, right? Because it will tell them what are the dimensions, what are the materials we'll take for those electrolyzers. So this is how it looks, the whole system is. So this is one system. So this is a PEM base. So it uses neutral water. Okay. There is another electrolyzer, water electrolyzer, same water. You add KOH to it, and we call it alkaline water electrolyzers. Okay, understood. But acid electrolyzers are not used in commercial scale. Why? You can tell later on. Anyways, so alkaline water electrolyzers, they are completely different from this PEM base, because you are using alkali. The materials are different. Okay, if you put in a PEM electrolyzers alkaline water, it will cease to work after some time, or there will be issues. You will not get the same efficiencies what is desired. So in alkaline water electrolyzers, the electrodes are different. They are nickel. Okay, the membrane is not a proton exchange membrane. The membrane is different. It's, you know what is it? It's Zircon type of membrane. So they're known as separators here. Separators. So it separates the hydrogen from the oxygen. We should not allow hydrogen and oxygen to mix. Why? Hydrogen oxygen should not mix. Why? It should. It is an explosive mixture, right? So hydrogen. So this is what. And then application. So and then another type of electrolyzers you have heard of. Huh? Huh? Solid oxide. Solid oxide electrolyzer cells. SOEC it is called. So those are high temperatures. These are not working at room temperature. These AWE and all these work at room temperature, and this SOEC, they work in high temperature. They have a completely again different mechanism. Okay, so there you do not send water. What do you send? You send steam. So it's actually steam electrolysis. So the kinetics is improved inherently. You do not require a catalyst because it's already high temperature. So there nickel cermet is used as the cathode, and perovskites. People are learning, right, in chemistry, perovskites. So they have widespread applications. It's one of the applications in SOEC. Why? Because they are very good. What? Oxygen conductivity is very high. You should be able to tell, right, chemistry. Because in perovskites you can control the oxygen vacancies, number of oxygen you can play with by doping and changing the A and B metals. Okay, and the electrolyte, what is it? The electrolyte through which oxygen will conduct? It's yttria stabilized zirconia. YSZ it is called. So this is how a solid. So somebody who has to open a commercial plant on SOECs, so he has to refer such books where or refer reviews where he will have an idea of what are the components he should take. So YSZ is a technologically very important material. Its oxygen conductivity is very high. So in yttria, you replace something with zirconia. Okay. So zirconia, zirconium, what is the oxidation state? Zr +4. तो जोर से बोलो, व्हाट इज प्रॉब्लम, क्या है? तो +2 भी बोल रहे हैं तो गलत ही होगा ना. तो एंड इट्रिया वाई. देखो YSZ में क्या है. So this is one of the strategies where you do yttria is +3, so zirconium is +4. So in a zirconia lattice, so you have done lattice, right? You have studied. So three-dimensional array of ZrO2 moieties, they are unit cells. So if you dope small amount, the optimum percentage is 8. So by research, these percentages come. Okay, somewhat different can be. So in place of ZR 4 plus, if you replace somewhat with Y 3 plus, simple. So just socho ZR O2 hai. In that some around 8-10% of ZR you are replacing with Y 3 plus. So what will happen in the lattice? Electroneutrality has to be maintained, right? So how it will be maintained? Some O2 minus oxygen has to be removed from that lattice. Okay, so this will give in the side the three-dimensional lattice high mobility of oxide ions. So that is why what is required in solid oxide electrolyzer cell. There the oxide ion mobility is required. Okay, so that is why it function as an electrolyte. Where oxide ion can move from the cathode to anode, anode to cathode simply very fast. In the reverse mode, electrolyzer the reverse mode, you know what it is called? Fuel cell, simple. Electrolyzer cell and fuel cell. And then bioscience people will not be happy कि अरे मेरा कुछ नहीं हुआ, chemistry हुआ, physics हुआ, engineering भी हो गया. So in bioscience also a lot of work is going on these hydrogen. So that is on microbial fuel cell. Okay, the same thing you can do on fuel cells using microbes. सेम काम जो हम लोग केमिकल से या इंजीनियरिंग स्केल से और फिजिक्स यूज करके कैटलिस्ट बना रहे, माइक्रोब्स यूजिंग टू डू microbial fuels. It's a very emerging topic. Okay. Anyways, another see R&D and what else? These are all review articles. The second article, review article, state water electrolysis from textbook knowledge to latest scientific strategies and industrial development. So here also the themes are they will tell you about the fundamentals from textbook knowledge. What is everybody you have studied, every one of you has studied water electrolysis in textbook in till 12. So what are the additional beyond textbook water knowledge? What are the latest scientific strategies? So these are the strategies. But what are the state of art materials there? What are the state of art technologies in life in microbial fuel cells? MFCs is called. What are the things which are important and used? And industrially, what are the relevant things? Industrial developments. So this is a very reputed review, Chemical Society review. See, so many pages, 4583 to 4762. Just imagine so many pages they have written for this. So many references they must have used. So this review article is intended to cross-pollinate and strengthen the efforts from fundamental understanding to technical implementation. Okay, the best strategy is that here, there. So you have from fundamental understanding to its technical implementation to improve the junctions between fields physical. So physics is involved, chemist. So chemistry was also involved, material scientists and engineers. So if you do in microbial fuel cell, life science will also win. So don't get disheartened. As well as stimulate much needed exchange among these groups on challenges encountered in different domains. So the domain challenges are different, but how we will cross-pollinate means how, so interactions required. So this review tells you about the, okay, what are the major challenges in for chemists, for physicists, for engineers, what are the major challenges with respect to this industrial development. Okay, still electrocatalyst as a chemist you can develop, as a material scientist and improve the efficiency. You can develop very efficient electrolyzer design as an engineer and improve the efficiency. So like that you can do. So these review articles identify the gap areas where one should work. An overview of water electrolysis technology for green hydrogen project. Just energy reports is just an overview which has given. So it's a total different type of review. So one is chronological, one is methodological, and one is thematic. So like that, you can divide the reviews. The review articles are written and presented so that it becomes useful for the next generation researcher to take up the problems, because the gap areas are well identified with the critical or well analyzed synthesis of the present already reported data. So there's no additional work being done. So I just present you the template. So if you can go into the website and just see also. So just I brought it for you because these are research methodological classes. So this is how the thesis first page look like. So imagine why I came. So this is, there will be a title with the project which you will take, and your name will be there. You're feeling good, right? And then your thesis will submit it for Doctor of Philosophy and whatever year, and everything is written. So this will be first stage. Then there will be a committee. So as soon as you join, there will be a doctoral committee. Okay. So doctoral committee will be accept this examiner. Okay. So there will be a chairman. There will be definitely a guide. Co-guide is not mandatory. You can have, if any. And then you have three members in this doctoral committee. Huh? So that committee will review your work every year. Every year you have to present annual progressive report. Huh? So whenever your registration date will be there, probably you will be registered. I don't know. Probably in 1st January. I don't know. That the coordinators can tell you. So whenever you register within 1 year, you have to present in front of that committee where this examiner will not be there. And after that doctoral committee give you recommendations. So as I told you, uh, in research methodology, literature review, research problem, and every time you have to, there was one discussion, huh? So discussion with experts. So this will be the discussion with experts, where the examiner, sorry, the members of the committee will discuss, see your output and discuss for further improvement. Okay, so take it positively, okay, and improve it. And anyways, guide you are always sitting, huh? And there will be chairman of the committee, some senior person, huh? So they will be experts in the field. So that discussion will always be there to improve your research problem or whatever problem you are doing. Other gap areas they can propose, you can start working in that. They will help you in proposing the research hypothesis. So one of the step, rest literature review you have to do, work you have to do, the work we are coming next class onwards. Okay, so this is what how uh, it will progress, and then you present the pre-synopsis after the committee tells you, huh? And then after pre-synopsis presentation, you have to present the submit. You have to submit the thesis, and within after the review of the thesis comes, you have to present in front of the doctoral committee and the examiner. Then only it will be approved. You have to present this paper also in your thesis. So this is the whole process. So no, don't worry about discussion with experts. Guide you are discussing every day with your lab mates. Will be discussing, seniors discussing. But there are experts in the field who will help you. The HBNA protocol itself has a well-defined methodology for so that your research methodology is improved every year after year. Okay. So these are the statements which you have to make. So this I took from the website itself. That how what are the allowance. So it's an intellectual property. Its property belongs to HBNI. So whether they allow it, so brief things they allow. So whatever they are telling, you have to abide by. You have to sign it, and then you have to make a declaration that investigation present in a thesis has been carried out by me. Huh? This is work is original. What is original? Huh? We have carried out for the. Huh? I have done it. It's not duplicate. It's original work and has to be submitted earlier as a whole or in part of degree any other institution or university. List of publications. So here, whatever publications. So this will vary as I told you. Somebody 5, 3, 5, 10, 20. I don't know whatever it is. So the number of publications you will present that has to be listed here. So in each publication you have present an introduction. They have to have the literature review. That also has to be followed in the same pattern which I showed you. And then your research methods and all those things will come. So there also the research statement question has to be asked in each of these publications. Okay. Then chapters in books, conferences, and others if you have. And dedications you can dedicate it to somebody. That's optional. Acknowledgements you can acknowledge whoever has helped you during your work. And the contents. So the contents. See here, it's first is a summary, then list of paper, list of thesis, and chapter one is always introduction. Okay. So chapter one you have to present into. As I told you, it's a necessity that you do a literature review. So whatever project you are taking, start reading and try to identify the gap areas. Do not duplicate and understand and be familiar with the subject. Understand the subject so that you do better in the subsequent chapters. Okay. Then chapter 2, 3, 4, chapter ends and all those things will come, references and all those other phenomena, right? So this is what about the HBNI structure of your thesis. Okay, so research methods and methodology plays an important part, and HBNI ensures you that you have proper discussion with your uh, experts in the field with the help of the committee. So then what after what? So after this, you have completed the formulating the research problem. You stages. This is the third stage. So for the second stage, we did literature survey, and now we are coming into the third stage, which is developing the working hypothesis. So what first is definition? What is a working hypothesis, right? So development of working hypothesis. So after extensive literature survey, researcher should propose a working hypothesis, which is also can be called as a research hypothesis if it's for the research, which is tentative assumption. So here you are presenting an assumption. It's not proven. Okay, it's an assumption you are going to make. So what is an assumption? You are assuming something, like, okay, so that assumption you are proposing in a working hypothesis, and why it is made in order to draw out and test its logical and empirical consequences. So somebody who will be doing work, so they will work in that assumption, and they will, during their research stages, next stages, he or she will try to draw out and test its consequences. And so he or she will be testing it, right? Whatever hypothesis he or she has proposed, he will be testing it with the help of research methods to arrive at a logical or empirical consequence. Empirical means I told you na, based on experience or observation. So whatever research methods you will apply, and you will also apply logic, right? Lot of logic has, because it's scientific. So science means truth. So the logic has to come here. So that logical and experiential consequences you will arrive at, and finally that hypothesis. So this is what you will do. It is important point of research. So focal point of research. So you will be working around that hypothesis. Okay. So the problem was stated, and then around that hypothesis we will work along. Okay. They also affect the manner. They also affect the manner in which tests must be conducted in the analysis of data, and indirectly the quality of data which is required for analysis. Okay. So you will do the analysis. With analysis, you will do after testing it, the hypothesis. So what test you will conduct, what research methods you will be interested in will be defined by this research hypothesis, right? So whatever hypothesis is proposed, you will, around that focal point, will rotate continuously by using research methods. Say for example, as I told you, XPS tells you the surface oxidation state. So you, in the hypothesis, you have told, I will come with some examples, that okay, iron can exist in +2 and +3, right? In my samples, it is in +2. That is why it is showing a better some property, some catalytic activity. But you have to go around it and prove in multiple ways. Okay, iron is presenting in +2 in my samples. Okay, so your hypothesis, you are proving it that way. Hypothesis should be very specific and limited to the piece of research in hand. It should be specific. Okay, so it cannot be very broad as the research problem we stated. Okay, so it has to be more specific, and the role of hypothesis is to guide the researcher by delimiting the area of research and to keep him or her on the right track. So whenever you are debating, remember what was my hypothesis, and we will again come back to the track, not deviate it. Okay. It sharpens his thinking and focuses attention on more important facets of the problem. Okay. So they says that a proper hypothesis, well defined, will sharpen your thought process and will focus attention on important problems. It only indicates the type of data required, type of methods or data analysis to be used. Definitely, whatever hypothesis you're making, the research methods or the data analysis will depend on the hypothesis which you are proposing. So how does one go about developing? Then again, like problem statement, how we will do it. Like we discussed now, last 3 days we are discussing research problem. What are the techniques? So what are the techniques of proposing the working hypothesis in this case? It's all the same. Discussions with colleagues and experts. So colleagues guide you have colleagues in your lab, and then experts, you have AGBNI doctoral committee, right? And in addition, you can go to other experts also. You are always free. So that you have to do for hypothesis proposal, for research hypothesis. So discussion with colleagues and experts about the problem is origin and objectives in seeking a solution. Examination of data and records means a similar sort of literature survey. Whatever data is there, you can consult that and you can propose your hypothesis. Huh? Okay. So that examination of data and records means examine, say, for example, if I run every day, I will not increase my weight. Huh? I will lose weight. So this is the data I think is established, right? And if I do it, so therefore hypothesis will be concerned with that. So that will help you. The previous data will help you. It's that in proposing that the hypothesis by running we can maintain a constant weight, something like that. Review of similar studies in the area or of the studies of similar problem. Exploratory personnel investigation, which involves original field interviews on a limited scale with interested parties and individuals with a view to secure greater insight into practical aspect of the problem. So these are how you will define the hypothesis, right? By discussion, by examination of data, format data, review of similar studies, and exploratory personnel investigation, right? These are the four methods again. So research hypothesis. So what you have to do? So proposal of research hypothesis, you have to identify the research question, conduct a literature review like what we have done, define the variables, make it specific, make it testable, and formulate. Discussion with experts is missing. So we have to make it like that. Just made a diagram before coming because I should also contribute something instead of just taking from the book. So the working hypothesis arise as a result of a priori thinking about the subject. So a priori thinking means you have certain ideas about the subject already, and examination of available data and material, including related studies and council of expert and interested parties. So always they are telling that interested. So you have a product. So many research are proposing a product to be used by a user, like electrolyzer. Suppose you are doing an industrial problem. So there you have to give something to the industry, or electrolyzer to the industry. So they say they give me a 90% efficient electrolyzers working with these kind of inputs, and I should get 90% efficient electrolyzer. So that you are working on this. So a priori data means you already have the information about an electrolyzer which has 80%. So your work is minimized. So 10% you have to improve, right? So your research question is how I will improve the 10%. And somebody you collaborate, they say, okay, that can be increased with the help of electrocatalyst. An engineer will tell, okay, I can improve that by using a controlled flow of reactants. Somebody else tell I can do it by a proper design of my electrolyzer flow field. So those will be your hypothesis. The question is how I will increase my efficiency, and the hypothesis by if you take the electrolyzer by changing modifying my electrolyzer by introducing improved electrocatalyst, better electrolyzer design, I can achieve 10% increase in efficiency of the current electrolyzer. So that is your hypothesis, and that is a question. The question is how I will increase. So what are the difference between question and hypothesis? I will come. It may well as be remembered that occasionally we may encounter a problem where we do not need to need working hypothesis, especially in the case of exploratory or formulative researches. So exploratory research is you are exploring something, like I told you, AMD, Atomic Millionaire's Directory. So they explore, ONGC, they explore where, so they do not need the hypothesis, but they can have something near the ocean or something near the beaches. There is a greater possibility of getting gas deposits, like that. So some kind of hypothesis, some may not have. But a general rule, specification of working hypothesis is another basic step of research process in most research problems. So in most research problem, you have to have a working hypothesis. So what is the time? 3:20. So we'll have another 5 minutes, and then we'll again come back. So we will take a break now or later on, or we'll complete it early. You tell. Complete and leave early. You can take the classes now for 1.5 hours continuously. You can ask her. Right? So we will go into posing what is the research question. So till now it was a research hypothesis. Now I'm telling research question. So is there any difference between the two? That we have to understand. So what it is? So research question. A research question seeks to identify and explore potential relationship patterns or trends, fostering a deep understanding of the underlying phenomenon. Okay. A broad inquiry. So I told you research question, a broad inquiry that identify what the researchers wants to explore or understand. So what do you want to explore? As I told you in the previous case, what you want to explore, the research question is how I will increase the efficiency of my electrolyzer by 10%. I'm telling about my electrolyzer, it can be anything. It can be of this light, the LED lights, like how I can increase the efficiency, energy efficiency of this building, right? The energy. So energy efficient building is a very important problem in energy engineering, right? So they want to create energy efficient buildings by installing solar panels at the top, and then whatever heater you will be having, that will be done by solar heating. You have the lights which are LED highly efficient. So multiple stages, multiple strategies they adopt how to arrive at energy efficient buildings. So right now, whatever the contemporary traditional building where right now it has changed a lot because of the emergence of energy efficient challenges. Okay, so that has to be taken by engineers. So how they will design it, energy efficient building. So how I will increase the energy efficiency of this HBNI building by 10%. So that can be a research problem, right? And you have to think how I can do it. So they will say, yeah, lights, put off one row of lights. So this is one of the, right? Uh, motion sensing lights. So that is one very important, you can adopt it, right? But again, cost will increase. Huh? So, so it does not predict an outcome. It simply asks. So in a research question, you are asking. Huh? In a research question, I asked that how can I increase the efficiency of my electrolyzer by 10%? So this was my research question. But if I propose a research hypothesis, which you have to do, so there you tell that by implementation of electrocatalysis and better electrolyzer design, the efficiency of electrolyzer can be increased by 10%. So there is a variation in between the two, right? This is just a question. Huh? So for the hypothesis, you have to have the question. For the question, you do not have to have the hypothesis, right? So this is the difference, basic difference between the two, and you have to understand. So research questions every day will come into your mind, but research hypothesis, you have to think. Huh? You have to ask the question and find out with literature survey, discussions with experts, and your proper understanding. Okay, how I can do that? Huh? That is a how I can do that. So that statement will be your research hypothesis. I can do that. I can increase the efficiency of my electrolyzer by 10% by implementing better electrocatalyst and better electrolyzer design. Or I can improve the efficiency of this building, what you told, by implementing motion sensing lights. Huh? So that is a hypothesis. Huh? Mm, uh, that can affect the efficiency of the building. But then what is the research? Then you have to prove it. So during your research career, you have to prove it. Okay, this is the what which I am doing. So one chapter will be on electrolyzer, chapter will be on flow field design, one chapter will be on fuel electrolysis, another chapter on OER electrocatalysis, and finally the product you give it to the industry. This is for industrial research. Definitely you are not going to do that. Anyways, so this is what is the research difference between the research question and research hypothesis. We will do more examples right now. So it does not predict an outcome, is simply asked, used in both qualitative and quantitative research. So I am telling you by quantitative, 10%. It can be done in a qualitative way also, in a qualitative way. Just how can I increase the efficiency of it instead of quantifying the number. So both for qualitative and quantitative research, you can have research questions. A research question is a question that a study or research project aims to answer. So that is what you aim to answer, right? So you have to have that research question, and then multiple research question. You have this, you can derive your hypothesis at. In most studies, the research question is written so that it outlines various aspects of the study, include the population and variables to be studied and the problem the study addresses. So the population, I told you, the population is the universe, right? You remember I told you in the first class. Again, we'll tell you later on. So, and what is a variable? Including population and variables. So variables are the there are two types of variables. Will come in the next class. Research methods. Independently. So you have already studied, huh? No, have gave great idea. So we will be concerning with the variables. Okay, so in this efficiency is the variable, so that is varying. So we have to have it's a dependent variable. How I can increase it? That is will be my research. So the variables will come in next class. But as I told you, in each of these stages, research stages, they are not independent or they are not separated by hard boundaries. So variables, although we are doing research question or research hypothesis today, but it involves a variable always. And what is variable we'll do in the next class in the research methods, research design stage. Okay. As their name implies, a research question is often grounded on research. It's only on research. As a result, these questions are dynamic. This means researcher can change, okay, or refine the research question as they review related literature and develop a framework for the study. So don't worry if your question is cannot be answered. So even in HBNI in every universities, if you are not able to reach 10%, suppose you are able to reach 5%. So you change the research question always. And you have the option of changing your thesis title also. Huh? So during before submission, you thought, okay, my aim was this, but I slightly deviated. So you have the option of changing it also. So similarly, research question, while answering, if you find that I have deviated a little bit or I have achieved, overachieved or underachieved, whatever it is, a researcher has always the option to change it, because research means we are going into the unknown. See, you are diving into somewhere an unknown territory. It's not that you are going into a production plant where if you know if I feed 100 grams of 100 kg of flour, I will have 100 kg of breads. Right? It's not like that. It's not a production plant. You are doing a research how to increase the efficiency of that production plant. And if you target a 10% efficiency, you will land at 5% or 15% as well, right? So what they say is that this means the researcher can change or refine the research question. So I told you the electrolyzer efficiency can depend upon one variable, electrocatalyst, another variable, the electrolyzer design, or any other variable. So if you have find out during your study that okay, this design is making a greater impact, then you refine your question, right? Or refine your hypothesis. While many research projects will be focused on a single research question, larger studies often use more than one research question. So definitely you'll be concerned with more than one research question. What happened? कुछ हुआ है? क्या फोन फोन हाँ? फोन बजा नहीं. So research questions, what does it does? So research question, uh, so it's focus, relevant, original. It has to be original, feasible, researchable, specific. So like that, how the research question should look like, and how we will go and define a research question. Again, in your topic of research, in the problem, whatever you have defined, you narrow down, you come down. जैसे we in the problem, what we in the problem statement during the definition of problem, we wrote that first problem is define the problem in a very broad way. Okay, so you define the problem in very broad way. Then you were discuss with you increase your understanding. How we will increase your understanding? By a literature survey or discussion with your uh, experts, and then you ask your research question or you reach to your research problem, right? So this is how you did it. Similarly, the research problem, the for research problem you have to have a broad topic of research. You will not if you not ask a problem something which is not in your topic, working knowledge of the topic you have to have understanding, right? uh, Working question, the gap areas you identify from that by review of literature and understanding and discussion, and then propose the question. Okay, and this is how the research question is all about. So is there any difference? So what we did is initially we learned what is research hypothesis, huh? And we learned what is research question. Huh? But do you understand any difference between the two? Have you able to understand? You are alone telling us. Huh? So, are you able to understand what is the difference between them? Because with the help of electrolyzers, we try to understand. With the help of examples only, we will be able to understand. So, we will go one by one or two few examples. We will see to understand what is the difference between research question, research hypothesis, how they look different. Okay. So, a research question is the starting point. If you do not have a research question, you cannot start. Huh? So as I told you in the Pasteur's quadrant, so as I told you that research methodology is interdependent, no boundaries. We'll again recap everything. So in Pasteur's quadrant, in the y-axis, there was fundamental understanding. So for a research question, for any qualitative, quantitative, or scientific or empirical research, you have to have a curiosity. You have to have a quest for understanding, right? So it's a starting point. Why? Huh? Or if it is product development, in the downside, where you do not have curiosity but application is there, that product, that quantitative, as I told you, how I will increase the efficiency of 5%, because it can be applied directly. But for that also you have to have some understanding. So it's an applied research itself. Okay, it's a question format. So here you are asking a question. How I will increase the efficiency of electrolyzer by 10%. So it's the format is a question in a research question. Okay, and it's an open-ended inquiry. Okay, so it's open-ended means I can increase the research means efficiency by multiple means. It's open. The whole world is open to me, right? I can change the uh, fuel flow. I can change the flow field. I can change the components. I can change the design. I can change the catalyst. I can change the material. So many options are there. I can change the power itself. So many options are there. So it's open-ended. But instead, a research hypothesis is not the starting point. What is this? A research hypothesis is a proposed answer. Okay. So for a research question, you already have an answer. That is what is a research hypothesis is instead of a research question. It's a proposed answer. It's something you've understood the problem and you have proposed something, right? Okay. Prediction, it's actually prediction or assumption as we learned, right? It's an assumption, research hypothesis. This is an assumption or prediction which has to be tested. So that if you do not have a hypothesis, what you will test, right? So during your research years, what you will do? You will test your hypothesis. So research hypothesis is a proposed answer or a prediction which has to be tested. Instead, a research question is the starting point, which is curiosity. It was the research question in a question format. This is in a statement format. These are not questions. Okay, hypothesis is a statement which you will test, and it's a testable prediction. So you have to test it, but it is an open-ended inquiry. So these are the major differences between the research question and the research hypothesis. So these are the major differences. So how we will know what are the differences? So we will do few examples today. Okay, first we come to healthcare. Okay, so the question is how the lifestyle and habits affect the heart functioning in the age group 40 to 60 years. Okay, this is the research question. So this is what an open-ended inquiry you propose, means you question it. Okay, how it will change. And instead the research hypothesis is individuals in the age group 40 to 60 who engage in regular physical activity are less likely to develop heart disease than placebo, who are not doing. Placebo means, I think life sciences know. I use the word, it may be wrong also, or who are not doing lifestyle exercises. Okay, so this is a research hypothesis, but how you all agree to this? It's a positive, statement. You all agree to it. Why you agree to this? First tell me. Because you have a knowledge. Do you know that? Okay, so for proposing for this research question, do you need any knowledge how the lifestyle and habits affect the heart function and the age group 40 to 60? No. You do not need any knowledge prior. Your mind is not, if you do not have any knowledge about the lifestyle and habits and the physical activity relation, no need. You just propose the question without any knowledge. But for a hypothesis, for proposing a hypothesis in your research methodology or in your research area, you have to propose a hypothesis. Huh? So this one you have to do. For this, you have to have a prior knowledge. You are having this because it's quite common. Why it is quite common? Because having a knowledge regarding this. तुमने तुम्हारा पेरेंट्स को देखा है, तुमने तुम्हारा ग्रैंड पेरेंट्स you have seen the society, people, you have seen newspaper, you have read everywhere in social media, you have read in your what you have discussed with these doctors. So all these things are happening. See, in the common area also, what you have done? You have done a literature survey. Literature means here only news and all those things where you have known that okay, if you do age group, I have referred 40 to 60 because I am in that age group, old person. But it is useful for you also. So why it is important, why you are knowing this? Because you have to have a proper understanding. And how you are having the understanding, as I told you, by discussion, because your parents, your grandparents has discussed in this age group you have to do physical activity, and you have read in newspaper, means you have done a literature survey also have been unknowingly, same thing you have to do for your research. And you, for your research in your thesis, you cannot ask, put up a question like this, research question, how lifestyle and habits affect the query. But you have to have the question and then propose a hypothesis, because this hypothesis you can test what individual in the age group of 46 to engage in regular physical activity are less likely to develop heart disease. So what for this comes under area of healthcare. So a healthcare professional, what he will do, he will take uh, okay, I am alone in that group, they will separate into three groups. So what they will do, one group they will engage in multiple workouts like resistance training, yoga, and another group they will go for swimming, walking, and all those things they will do. And the other thing they will tell, तुम लोग सो जाओ, तुम लोग आराम करो, कुछ करना नहीं है. And they will, after 1 year, what they do, this is done actually, why, how they do the reports. So then they evaluate कि ये ग्रुप जो लोग रेजिस्टेंस ट्रेनिंग योगा किया है, how the health is there, एंड देन जो लोग स्विमिंग किया है उसका कैसे हेल्थ रहा है, विथ पैरामीटर्स, ब्लड पैरामीटर्स, जो एलडीएल कोलेस्ट्रॉल, एचडीएल कोलेस्ट्रॉल, इजंट इट? एंड जो लोग कुछ सो रहा था उन लोगों का क्या हुआ. So and then they will publish a report. You will read it in your social media. वो जो कितना, and अरे वाह बढ़िया है, like that only. Same thing you have to do. So, but अगर तुम, if you had only this question, it was not sufficient. If you have to have this hypothesis, so you have to test it. Only because of this hypothesis, I'm testing. And we separate into separate chapters. First chapter, introduction. If you don't do physical exercises, these dangerous outcomes are there. Always, you will frighten the people, right? डरा देगा. जैसे see, when hydrogen people will come and say अरे oil scarcity है tomorrow, as if खाली oil नहीं मिले, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Oil is sufficient, it will long run. बैटरी, फिर बैटरी लोग बोलेंगे अरे we will give the solution. Why hydrogen? Battery will provide the future cars. तो फिर हाइड्रोजन बोले वो बैटरी का इलेक्ट्रिसिटी तो कोल से ही आ रहा है. And then hydrogen people will say, okay, battery is, there is something, a term known as energy density. Have you heard? So how much, see, a petrol has a petrol carrier, right? So size of the car cannot be infinite. So within that size, you have to have some energy stored that it will run. The average run, they say that around 200 to 400 kilometers. Once filling, you should run, because तुम्हें दूसरा पेट्रोल पंप तक जाना है, बीच में खराब नहीं होना. So that is why the energy density comes into play. So from batteries, this hydrogen, they say the energy density, the per unit mass, the energy density will be more if you use hydrogen stored in not in containers, but instead in solid state storage. So hydrogen storage is a very important topic of research. Okay, so right now the hydrogen cars you have heard, कौन बनाता है? Electric cars, who makes? Tesla. Who is the owner of Tesla? Elon Musk. So all these are very common. Everybody knows, but hydrogen तो वो उतना पता नहीं. Hydrogen कौन सा कार है? Toyota Mirai. He is interested. He is interested in hydrogen and Toyota Mirai. So that there they are using which type of cylinder? No, type 4 cylinder they call it. So there are specifics, type 1, type 2, type 3, type 4. That is not the scope of our study, but we have to discuss something, right? But type 4 cylinder 1, 2, 3, 4 kya hai, we are not discussing that. Definitely we will not bore you. So type 4 cylinders they are used. But in case that is okay. But cars, we are having batteries. But say, think of very big trucks. For trucks, now battery will not be able to sustain such long distances because the energy density is less. So whatever the size of their fuel tanks will be, batteries will not be able to cover. Instead, hydrogen they say. So that is why trains, cars, they are telling that okay, we'll run on hydrogen. So this is one of the debate I am telling. So we coming back to healthcare. So this is what physical activity is. This is just giving one example. Let me numerous examples. But in these classes, you should have an idea of all types of subjects of research. So healthcare is one subject, right? Another subject is human psychology, right? Psychology, mind. What the mind has an effect. And I have taken a simple problem because I do not want to go into complex psychology. I told you about positive psychology; those are different. But here only the effect of coffee. Anyone drinking coffee here? Huh? Many people. So does caffeine affect concentration in students? So you all are students. Do you think it has an effect? Coffee के बिना रह सकते हैं, पढ़ सकते हैं या नहीं? Tea will also having caffeine effect, but coffee is having more. So that is why so you can replace caffeine by tea. Simple. As why I am telling you this simple like that. टी और कॉफी ऐसे भी तुम्हारे रिसर्च में कोई आयरन नहीं तो निकल कुछ एनीथिंग यू विल बी यूजिंग राइट इन योर रिसर्च सो आयरन मोर advantages iron is more less costly more abundant like that. So this is the question, does caffeine affect the concentration in students? So this is an open-ended question, open-ended, as we discussed in the previous slide. So this was the starting point. It starts. It's a question format. This is a question, and it is open-ended inquiry. But what is the proposed answer? Is what can it be? Caffeine intake has no effect in students' concentration level. No effect. ये एक आंसर हो सकता है because and और एक आंसर हो सकता है it's an answer statement. Caffeine intake has no effect on students' concentration level और caffeine intake has दोनों जगह no लिख दिया. एक जगह yes होगा. Caffeine intake has a effect on student concentration level. But I don't know because I am not taking coffee. I have not done literature survey on this. I have not spoken with experts. There are experts sitting. They will tell. So you can tell. But if I do not have discussed with these experts, and if I have not read the review literature whether caffeine has an effect on study on my concentration of the students, what hypothesis I will state? Caffeine intake affects concentration level. This much only, and I have to prove whether it affect or not affect, how much it affects. So the hypothesis can be positive hypothesis, as it can be a negative hypothesis. If you do not know whether it is positive or negative, you do a neutral hypothesis, you give, like that. Okay, so this is how the hypotheses are stated instead of question. So question is different. So what you tell me? So it has effect or not? जो लोग coffee drinkers हैं, yes. So you have to prove it. So I have discussed with experts. I will go and search the news, and then I will do my study itself. ये इधर कॉफी ड्रिंकर्स है, इन लोगों को कॉफी पिलाएंगे नेक्स्ट दिन और देखेंगे कौन बिना सो के पूरा क्लास कर रहा है. एंड देन तुम लोगों को नो कॉफी, इन लोगों को टी. अच्छा है. And then we will see who are able to sustain more. If I see that these people are concentrating better, then the answer will be different. But I do a research, right? I am doing one research on the human psychology. So this is how psychology has evolved. Have you heard of Seligman's experiment? Martin Seligman experiment? No. Human psychology? There are so many experiments. Many psychologists have done non experiments on human psychology. एक experiment बताते हैं just outside the class. There was these marshmallow are very addictive for the young kids. Marshmallow. You have heard of marshmallow? Chocolates, marshmallow. So marshmallow test बोलता है. This is very famous. That is, you have heard of marshmallow test? She knows the marshmallow test. So the psychologists, what they did huge studies they did actually. So this They gave they in a room, closed room, he kept a packet of marshmallow, and then brought kids. They tested with kids one day after other. A kid ko bola, you sit here. You have to sit for some time. You will not take the marshmallow, till I come back. You have heard, right? Huh? So, so what he does, like that he tests the kids. So there are some kids who could not control, and video भी था उसका, very interesting. वो ऐसा हाथ खड़ा करता है या फिर पीछे लेता है somebody, uh, somebody कोई घूम जाता है पीछे की तरफ. So they have different the videos were very interesting, the reactions of the kids. So, and the psychologist, what he did, he tested this upon several students and waited till they, these were done in 5 to 6 years bracket, and waited till they become 25, 26. So 20 years he waited. And they came back to the same students. They found that those who could wait till he comes, those who could wait till he comes did much better in their career than those who could not wait. Okay. So this was the outcome of his research. This is human psychology research. So there is a famous marshmallow experiment. And you know what this term is called? You know what this term is called? Delayed gratification. So he coined this term in positive psychology, the delayed gratification. So what you will find, you in my life it was earlier, and you also might be thinking कि कुछ नहीं मिला suppose तुम्हें चाहिए था, because in this era of digital age na, we get whatever we want to know. The problem is that whatever we are not knowing, आज ही जाओगे Google करोगे मिल जाएगा. So quick gratification. So whatever your senses want, to get a quick gratification. चॉकलेट खाना है, blink it कर दिया. हमारे टाइम में वो नहीं था, उसके पुराने जमाने में और भी कम था. So gratification means satisfaction of your demand, जो sensual से. So if you, these guys who could wait till he comes back, so for the marshmallows, they had the term typical known as delayed gratification. They could delay their gratification. So it builds your temperament for a better wait till you get a very good opportunity like that. This is what they correlated this and coined the term delayed gratification, marshmallows experiment. So immediate gratification, those who can wait for a better opportunity later, so it gives you better career, or with what he told, or a better temperament, or better as a human being. So this was the outcome of that famous marshmallows experiment. ऐसे साइकोलॉजी बहुत बहुत experiments है. You have heard no, you should not deviate too much. This is another there is another term known as learned helplessness. You have heard learned helplessness? Huh? Huh? She is interested in psychology. Huh? Huh? No? Do you do not know the experiment? Okay. This is one of the experiment. Another experiment, the first experiment was with the help of 6 dogs. Okay. So it was like a tennis court. In court one side, 6 dogs were kept. In another room, another 6 dogs were kept. They testing with dogs because this was somewhat different, so human beings were not tested. So in the in the tennis court, in one of the tennis court, the 6 dogs were given small electric shock at the bottom. So they were feeling the shock from the legs. And these, on the other side of the tennis court, there was no electricity. So these dogs ran and jumped to the other side. Okay, all the 6. So it was done continuously for I think 28 days. So they say that 28 days at time, if you do it continuously, you will learn, you will habit it. But even if you give gaps and if you do it for 20 days and give up, then you will not be able to grasp it. So that is why that 28 days or I was chosen. I think it was 28. I don't know exactly. 28, no? 21. So for developing a habit, you have to do it for 21 days. You have to listen to me for 21 days to sit quietly in the class instead of falling asleep, because this is after lunch and this is a different topic. And then the other set, they were given shock in the both sides. So initially, in the first few days, they tried to jump to the other side over the net. But slowly, They stopped jumping, because they knew that that's also there is a shock. Now what they did? They exchanged it. Huh? So the first room dog, 6 dogs, who the other side was not, there was no electricity. Now they have electricity, but still they tried jumping. Huh? But other side, who were taken from this side, when they tried jumping to the other side, where there was no electricity to the other side, but they never tried to jump. Huh? So they gave up. So they say this is the helplessness which they have learned from their practice. They have habited inherently, they are helpless. मेरा कुछ नहीं हो सकता, उधर है, लाइट है लेकिन मैं नहीं जा सकता, ऐसा. So you should not fall trap. You should. Why I am telling this? In your research career, you have to have a strong temperament. So you have to delay your gratification, and you also don't uh, inherit this learned helplessness. Some you can falter once, but next time you try, you can again fail. But third time you will definitely come out of the problem, right? So this was 2 examples. Again, other examples will give later. We continue our classes. Okay. So we come to sociology. We come to sociology. This is another subject on social social aspects. So we live in a human beings is a social animal, right? We all are living in the society. We cannot live alone. So we have to interact with people. So how do, sociology? One question is how do socio-economic conditions, okay, affect the voting behavior in urban communities? So in urban communities, social is more important. So the economic conditions, the social condition, how does it has any impact on the voting pattern of the people? Our voting patterns in urban communities is significantly induced by the socio-economic status of the voter. So this is a hypothesis. This is a positive statement you are making, because it has been proven by literature review, discussion, and statistical understanding. Because all these subjects I am telling are statistical. This has done by statistics, psychology, sociology. So the socio-economic factors has a direct impact on the voting patterns of urban communities. Education is a very important topic, because you will be going to the, as I told you, the most respectable as an education fraternity. You will get a PhD degree, which we did listen to the first day, that it's a highest respected, more it's a highest education degree you will be having, right? So in terms of degree wise. So right now, how does online learning affect the academic performance of primary school students? So we are in a digital era, right? COVID-19, what they throw into us? COVID-19, this online classes started. So this education, impact of education question came. Okay, does online learning affect the academic performance of primary school students? So but instead of this question, if you want to give a hypothesis, is that online classes significantly affect the development skill in primary school students more than conventional classroom learning does. हाँ, so online classroom का क्या effect है? ये hypothesis you can tell. Other is, does the method of teaching online or offline affect exam performance? So who will ask this question? I am asking this question, and I can have a direct answer because you all are attending offline and there are 38 students who are attending online. So I will tell you after my examination. Huh? So who is performing better? Whether I come and in front of you, it is better, or the people who are listening. I am sure many are not listening probably. So they are, because it is done in YouTube. They are giving in YouTube. So if they does better, then what? My hypothesis will be propelled wrong. So what will be there? There is no difference in exam performance between the students taught by traditional and digital method. Student but my online classes score significantly higher in exams than those taught by traditional method. Online class and conventional classroom teaching differ considerably on academic performance of students. So 3 types I can propose the hypothesis. So there is a research question in me on education, and I can prove it. At the end of the October, by end of October, I will be telling you whether online perform better or offline perform better. And then I can give my statistics to the data, and they say that, okay, let us see, online will be better or offline will be better. So right now I have proposed a hypothesis. Huh? online and conventional classroom teaching differ considerably on the academic performance of the students, huh? Or it has no effect. Huh? Probably it should not have any effect. That is what I believe. And let me see. Huh? So my research starts, huh? And outcome will come in not 5 years, in just 2 months. Technology. So in technology, what are the implications of increasing reliance on digital platforms for personal privacy and data security? So there are digital platforms. So there are issues, right, with data security and personal privacy. Huh? So there are threats of misusing or malaligning these. So instead of this research question, what will be the hypothesis for this? An increased dependence on digital platform compromise personal privacy and heightens the risk of data security breaches. Huh? So this statement has been proven by previous encounters, literature means news platforms you have heard, and this has been done. So these are the various fields in which you can propose a research question and a research hypothesis. This is how they differ. Huh? One is open-ended. Huh? Okay, it's quite open, and your hypothesis is quite specific. Your hypothesis has to be tested. I have to test, right? Huh? Whether online performs or better or offline performs. I have to test it. Otherwise, so your hypothesis gives you a testing uh, opportunity which you will do during your research career. So this is what differentiates uh, hypothesis and research questions. So healthcare, psychology, sociology, education, technology we did, and we come into last the scientific what we do in environment. Does long-term exposure to urban air pollution increase the risk of asthma in children? Huh? Yes or no? We do not know. Huh? That is a research question. So this is just a question. But what is the statement? Long-term exposure to alcohol has substantial impact on risk of asthma in children ages 6 to 2. We do not know the outcome, whether it has or not, whether it has or not. So we have to find out by research whether air quality index, a poor air quality index has, they will force to develop asthmatic tendencies in children. It has been found that in urban cities, where the air quality index is poor, the asthmatic tendencies are more among children. So they have coined a term, childhood asthma. Unfortunately, many people have. So those, but eventually these children grow it out. Means when they become 7, 8 years old, slowly their lung capacity increases and so they grow out. But uh, this urban population means bigger cities like Delhi, Bombay. In here it is quite greenery, but still I know there is a issue with childhood asthma. So that is a very important topic which is investigated in healthcare and environment. Material science. Huh? This is what I thought and I have written. Huh? So, so right now I was working in catalysis, various types of catalysis I do, but I wrote something which is related to the proposal which I have given. Huh? Does doping cobalt in nickel iron layer double hydroxide improves oxygen evolution reaction activity? So oxygen evolution reaction is nothing but electrolysis, one of the anode reaction. Okay, here water splits into to give oxygen. Okay, and one of the catalyst is uh, nickel iron layer double hydroxide. So it is denoted like this: NiFe LDH, nickel iron layer double hydroxide. So initials taken the NiFe LDH, they call it. Huh? So if I dope cobalt, whether it will increase or decrease. So that research question should be on mind. Huh? And for that question, you will undertake the research, right? And what will be your statement? A specific statement. Okay, cobalt dope nickel iron layer double hydroxide electron will show a significantly lower overall potential for OER at 10 milliampere per centimeter square compared to pure nickel iron LDH in 1 molar QH. So you have nickel iron layer double hydroxide. So it's a layered structure. Huh? So it's nickel iron is there in the layered structure, and those catalysts are active for oxygen evolution reaction itself. I say that doping cobalt means instead of nickel or instead of iron, I dope some amount of cobalt. Means substitute some amount of nickel, take out and put cobalt. Substitute some amount of iron and put cobalt. All right. Huh? So wait, but it will increase the activity or not? it has been found that it has increased the activity. Huh? So this is what my hypothesis is. So the cobalt nickel will have a significant impact in for OER at 10 milliampere per centimeter square. So then there is no need for research. From there, no, we have to test and prove it, right? And what more we have to do is what is the optimum amount of cobalt in that nickel iron layer double hydride scientifically, huh? So whether 1%, 2%, or 10%, 20%, what is the optimum amount of cobalt that has to be incorporated in nickel iron layer double hydroxide so that it improves the activity. It improves the activity. So what is this 10 milliampere per centimeter square? So this 10 milliampere per centimeter square is the current density they call. Current is milliamperes and density is per centimeter square. Why per centimeter square? Because the electrode is defined by an area. Area. So this is an area. So this is say suppose 100 meter square, 10 meter by 10 meter, and this is 100 meter square. So per area, how much is the current we can achieve with one of the material, right? So this is how it has to be done. And I thought of closing it here. Then life sciences they will not leave me. So कुछ मुझे पता नहीं लाइसेंस है कुछ भी बोल दिया does the amount of sunlight affect the growth of tomato plants हाँ तुम्हें क्या लगता है sunlight affect करेगा नहीं I do not know हाँ? So sunlight I know that photosynthesis इतना मुझे पता है sunlight से photosynthesis होगा and they will if there is more sunlight more photosynthesis I don't know whether it is true or not हाँ? So more food will you produce you have better tomatoes huh? So what is the experiment I have proposed is that tomato plants exposed to 12 hours of sunlight per day will show a higher, I think higher, but it can be lower or it does not affect or affect the average growth rate compared to those exposed only for 4 hours per day. So if you expose it for 12 hours, my understanding is that my understanding from my prior studies, what I have studied till class 10, that the tomatoes will be of better quality and we will land up with better enrichment, nutrition, more focused reading. So 12 घंटे tomatoes को grow करना है. So this is how this is all we have to discuss today. These are the assignments. How does a researcher go about developing working hypothesis? So how you as a researcher will develop your working hypothesis. Again, those same things, literature survey, discussion with experts, and all those things you do not have to work separately. You have library, you go and survey the literature. You have uh, teachers coming, discuss with them. And during your PhD course, once enrolled, you will have the doctoral committee who as experts will regularly basis, they will review your work. So, but how you will develop your working hypothesis and go on improving? Explain what is meant by research hypothesis. So you have to explain what do you mean by research hypothesis. State is different with research question. So can you state difference with just research question? Simple. And uh, and then state and explain the differences between research hypothesis and research question with examples. So you give one or two, whatever. With I will mention 2 example or 3 example, whatever it is, and then I meant not mention thank you also. Sorry for that. Anyways, thank you.